Hello and welcome to Better Presentations, episode 2. In this episode, I want to explain to you why using a black or dark background is much more effective than using a white or light background. So, why should we use a dark background instead of a white background? Well, first of all, for most of us, when we do a presentation at work, most of the time we're using a projector rather than a TV screen. But the problem with using a projector is it's projecting a very large area of light onto a screen. And if you're using a light background, quite often everybody or somebody likes to turn the lights down, particularly at the front of the room where you're doing the presentation. So everybody's natural focus of attention is going to be on the screen and not actually on you. Now, that's not really the point of a presentation. If that was the point of a presentation, you could just email them the PowerPoint or Keynote file and everything would be cool. So let me just show you what I mean by this. Now, to be fair, you're probably going to be watching this on a screen, whether it's your mobile phone or your tablet or your laptop or computer. But you'll get an idea of what I mean. So here's a light background. Here's a background on a white background. Now what I've done is I've put the Apple logo in there as well as our own company logo. Now what you'll notice is white against black is fine. I mean, it's very, very strong and there's nothing no problem here. You can actually see the words, you can see the logo, the images, there's no problem. But the problem that you will have is for your audience. Staring at a bright screen for longer than say 20 minutes is going to start really hurting their eyes, and then when the lights come on it's a bit of a shock. And so what I tend to do in all my presentations, I always use a dark background. So if we take this to a dark background now, again using the logos that I have, which is the Apple logo and my own company logo, using white on a dark background, the brightness suddenly disappears. And instead what's happening is your eyes, whether you notice this or not, are now focused on the words rather than just this bright object at the front of the room. And this is why I find this a much better way of preparing your presentation slides. Now, I know some of you will be working for companies that have logos that are dark logos or medium logos, but in my experience, because of the way that we use documents today, most companies have a black logo or a white logo, and it's not difficult to get hold of these logos by just asking your marketing department or your PR department. I'm sure they will have a copy of it. Failing that, you could always ask somebody, or you could do it yourself in Photoshop, and you can actually create a lighter logo for your slides. Now, somebody pointed out to me yesterday when I was talking about this that, well, they have to print out the PowerPoint file or the Keynote file for their boss, and that's fair enough. You might have to do that. And what you'll find is if it's on a black background with white words, it doesn't print very well. But that's okay. What I do in this, well, before we go into that, I should say one of the idea for this, and I've been using dark backgrounds, but I didn't realize how important it was until I came across this quote by Guy Kawasaki, where he says, "White says, I'm stupid and I'm going to make you stare at a bright object." And I have to say, hear to that. Guy Kawasaki is absolutely right with that one. You don't really want your audience to be focusing on a white blank screen. What you want to be doing is focusing on the words or the images or the chart or whatever you're doing. So, going back to the printing point, what I find now is, but you can do this in PowerPoint, you can do this in Keynote. You can create a printable file, and you can print it with a number of slides on each page. Now, in this example I've got here, I think I've got 16 slides on a page because I was just wanted to show the client the slide deck of a workshop that I was going to do. But if you wanted, you could reduce this down to 4, you can reduce this down to 2 even, depends on the purpose. And to do that, all you do is, here we go, we've got we've got my presentation file here that I'm using to show you. If I bring up the print command on my computer, you'll see that I have options of slide, grid, handout or outline. So if I go to the grid, you can see I can do 4, and as I click through these, that's just 2 because I don't have very many slides. But I could change that quite easily to here. I can put 6, which would have them all onto 1, or I could change this onto 2. Now this is using Keynote, to be fair, but you can do this in PowerPoint. So there's a really good tip for you to make your to make your slides much more effective, and to stop you saying that, to stop basically saying that you're stupid. You can actually create a much better looking background by just using a dark or even black if you wanted. I mean, this one I created myself, which has a slightly lighter center and a darker outside, but it really doesn't matter how you do it. So this is one of the things I just wanted to show you. The dark backgrounds, they work really well. You can see on this grid of slides how I'm interacting with the bright green color and white, and it just works much better. So there you go. There's my presentation tip for you this week. It's use a dark background instead of using a light background. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you use it in the future with your presentations. So until next week, until the next episode, have a great week and talk to you again soon.